Interrompemos esse podcast para perguntar: quem você quer ser?
Designer, engenheira, pedagoga,
administrador.
Quer saber? O Senac EAD é nota máxima no MEC. Tem cursos de diversas áreas, com conteúdo elaborado por especialistas do mercado e professores mestres e doutores. Ainda tem o Senac Carreiras, conectando estudantes a vagas de emprego em todo o país. Saiba mais em ead.senac.br/graduação.
Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
I'm your host, Jason Petros, and have we got a studio full of people for you?
A stable full.
This is our very first show for August, and our very first show without Keith, Kyle, Steve, Paul, Ron, Tom.
Who was
John,
that guy?
Becky.
Who was that
Nancy.
masked man?
You know, I found out the other day, I forget who it was that told me. I want to say it was Nicole, but it's not Nicole. Maybe it was. No, it wasn't. That Keith was one of the people at that NHC several years ago that was booing the Brewing Network when we won Club of the Year.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was a secret agent infiltrating the Brewing Network.
Well, he didn't have a hard time cashing the check. Well, it was in cash, so it's fine. But
there are checks?
Yeah.
No, there aren't checks. Not anymore.
Checks and balances,
So anyway, we are... What's that?
I was going to say, what? We pay them? What?
No, it was, everyone has jokes, Beverly, all right? But we are joined with a few replacements. We're missing one potential replacement, Matt Sanger, but I would say Sanger. I want to change his last name to Sanger, but it's Sager. I know, but I like Sanger better. I don't know why. So he's Matt Sanger now.
I thought it was Singer, too. That's weird.
Right?
We've got a running side commentary from Keith here, too. He says he told you that.
He might have, but you know what?
He probably told us on the first show.
Fuck off. Go
back. Let's go back and listen to his...
Shut up.
Listen to his first show with us.
I'm tired. I thought I was over you telling me how I'm wrong and how you're right and asserting your patriarchy dominance on me. Get out of here.
He came on here and he said he hates the Brewing Network. I think that was maybe not his exact words, but he said, "What am I doing here?" And then almost ran out the door.
And then he loves it.
Somehow
but to replace him...
We missed Keith Kyle.
Not really. To replace him, we're going to have a few people kind of rotating in and out because it is, this is a demanding schedule that we have. So we are going to have Brian Schar, who we had on during NHC.
Hello.
During one of our shows. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Came in through the revolving door.
And someone everybody on the Brewing Network is familiar with, Miss Nicole Erny.
Hello.
So both of you in the studio right now, very excited about it.
I'm super excited myself. Long-time listener, first-time guest host.
First?
Yeah, I've been a guest, but not a guest host.
That's right. You're moving up in the world.
I sure am.
So, Nicole, let's start with you. Tell me your beer qualifications, please, in case people do not know.
Oh, I didn't know there was going to be an interview.
Oh yeah, this is the show, man. Basically, it's 45 minutes of just me talking to you, and then 4 seconds on beer. It's like 32, boom, 40, boom. All right, that's the show, everybody. We've learned about Nicole's first pet and the street she grew up on, but.
Well, I was born in... No, just... I'm Nicole. I worked in the beer industry for 10 years now. Exciting.
Wow.
And I started off as a BJCP judge when I first started getting super into beer. I actually trained with a group that Brian had put together.
Yeah, I was thinking about... Because we have another group running now. It's my 5th judging study course. That our guest Kyle is also in now. So I've been thinking about the early days of that a lot when I was just like in my apartment, and now we moved up to being in breweries and really cool bottle shop / gastropub places like Bottle Taps
Great.
and Shadow Puppet Brewing.
A lot of folks
hosting
from
us.
that group have gone on to do great things like start breweries and lots of stuff. Anyway, I am now a national level JCP, and I also became a master cicerone.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking time out of your life to come in here and sit and smell us. Because it's very hot in here, and I feel very smelly. I don't remember having a kid. I don't remember the last time I took a shower. I can't remember it. I'm sure I did it at some point,
but then a baby puked on you.
Yeah. And then Mr. Brian Schar.
Hello.
What about you and your beer judge qualifications, please?
Well, I have been homebrewing for way longer than I should admit, probably about 25 years. I'm a master level BJCP judge. Member of the Words of Wisdom Homebrew Club, which Keith, Kyle, Steve, John was also a member of for a while.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm like one of the laziest homebrewers you'll ever meet, as you recall from our discussion in Portland.
Right.
So I bring that perspective to the whole thing also.
You get along well with JP.
Yeah, man. I hate doing stuff, man. Actually, I just don't have time anymore.
Oh, baby will do that to you.
Yeah. And
dude, my kid. Anyway,
Mr. Schar also taught one of our judging classes so far. He's going to help us out with another one. So, did a great class on yeast. I got a lot of compliments on that class from
thank you so much.
Participants. And yeah,
nice. Well,
and I'll tell you
teaching.
that I'm an attorney, so I have a JD, which is the laziest of all possible doctorates. It's the easiest one to obtain. So technically, I could call myself Dr. Homebrew. I could be a doctor.
Oh, shit.
Of homebrew.
Wow.
Technically. It would be accurate.
Can't call him Doc, though. That's taken.
No.
It would be confusing.
I've just but I think a guy like Brian doesn't deserve. A guy like Brian, you have to call doctor. I don't feel like there's a shortcut for Brian Schar. It's the whole thing, because that's Brian. Brian is very much, I'm going to tell you every word that I can right now.
There's a lot of me to go around and try to shut me up.
I wanted to call him Perry Mason.
Wouldn't that make you Dr. Homebrew Esquire?
If I was going to be really pretentious,
hell
certainly.
We got Esquire.
Esquire in the house.
That's what it is. Okay, let's move on to our first beer, because we're already a little behind, and our first guest here is not local like us, and so I want to get him on the show and then off the show as soon as possible, just to protect his interests. We have Ariel. Are you there?
I am.
How you doing, man?
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Hello.
Good.
So thanks for sending in beer, man. I appreciate it. It's kind of last minute, and I do apologize about that, but we got you on anyways. And it's a blueberry blonde ale, which I thought was pretty good. And that's not really something we've had in a while, Brian. Like kind of just a base, like not over hoppy IPA or different kind of German lager, or it's kind of nice to sometimes get back to here's just a simple recipe with some blueberries, and let's see what we can do about it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that for one. How long you been homebrewing, man? How long you been making beer at home?
I've been homebrewing now for 5 years.
5 years, okay. Is this something that you like to do, the blueberry blonde ale, or are you just kind of mixing stuff up and see what happens?
It's actually my first time making it. I've never made a blonde ale, and I've never done anything with blueberries before, so
you decided why not?
Yeah. Have you worked a lot with fruit?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Have you worked a lot with different other fruits?
I have not. When I first started brewing, I tried adding pineapple to a Hefeweizen, and it got infected. I guess I didn't sanitize it well enough. So I was afraid to do anything with fruit ever since. But I was recently in Gainesville, Florida, with my wife, and my brother-in-law took us to a winery down there that uses blueberries.
Okay.
So just decided when I was there, I was like, let me pick some blueberries, freeze it, take it home, and see what I can do with it.
Hell yeah, dude. That's how it works. That's how it works.
Wow, so it's blueberries you picked yourself in here.
Blueberries I picked myself.
Most lazy brewers like Mr. Schar over here would just open up a can of blueberry puree and dump it in.
Sanitized puree.
Whereas what I would do is go buy a bottle of blueberry beer and drink it. That's my favorite way to homebrew blueberry blonde ale. Brian, why don't you go ahead and show everybody how it's done?
We're the ones
Start off
who,
with the blueberry blonde ale judging, please.
Inspire you. Let me pour a little bit more of this for myself.
I need a little bit too. Bev, do we have glasses and shit in here?
Right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
So yeah, we did judge it as a 29A fruit beer. And you listed blueberry puree as an ingredient there with the 18A blonde ale as a base style. So I got a faint blueberry aroma in the nose with kind of a low bready malt alongside that. No obvious hop at all. It's just kind of cleanly malty and blueberry. Seems like a pretty clean ale fermentation to me. I didn't get any DMS or diacetyl myself, but it's moderate fruity esters. It's not very sweet smelling. It smells to me like, oh, this is maybe going to be kind of a drier beer, but I don't know if that's just something from the body of the blueberries. It's kind of something is dried out in there, and it's just kind of fruit that's kind of faded a little bit. Appearance-wise, it's a pretty purplish pink color. I guess if you were to guess what the base beer looked like, it would just be kind of a light golden beer. Otherwise, it's somewhat hazy, but could be from the fruit. I'm not sure. Mostly fine bubbles. It had a low kind of pale pinkish white head, fine bubbles, and moderate retention. It stuck around for a while when I first poured it. So yeah, appearance-wise, it was okay, just a little hazy, but a pretty color. Flavor-wise, they get a low bready malt in there. Again, not Bretty, but bready. Some faint blueberry, kind of about even with that malt. It's a light style, but it's a really light berry presentation too, and it's not screaming blueberry. It's kind of a vague berry, But blueberries are kind of notoriously hard to get to come through in a finished beer or a mead or something like that. You have to use a lot of them and drink it pretty fresh to get it, to get a lot out of it. But it seems fairly cleanly fermented, lightly fruity, finishes semi-dry. Aftertaste, a bit malty and faint, again, kind of vague berry. Like the alcohol is just a touch solventy, I would say. It's a fine point, but it's just kind of a little. You can tell the alcohol's there, which is kind of unusual for a blonde ale. It's kind of like, oh, there's a little booze poking out. But yeah, it's fairly low bitterness. There's just something in there just a little bit sharp, and I was kind of trying to figure out, what is that? Just the alcohol, or is there something else going on here? But anyway, mouthfeel wise, medium light body, has some light warmth to it, so that's again kind of continuing with the alcohol maybe sticking out a little too strongly, or having some higher alcohols in there that are pushing that envelope into being a little harsh. Not very creamy. Nice that it has only a very faint astringency, probably from the berry, the fruit matter, or seediness. It's good to keep that out of your fruit beers. So nice job there. Medium carbonation. But overall, I guess it's a pretty pleasant drinking blonde ale with only minor shortcomings. Just I wanted a lot more of the fresh blueberry flavor in there, at least kind of even to balance with this light of a beer style. You just have to bring it up a lot. Use fresh fruit and do it in your secondary, and drink it pretty fresh. I don't know how old the beer is, but. And also just to take care of the alcohol poking through, just take care of your yeast better. Watch fermentation temp, keep it even, keep it in the right range. Mid to upper 60s, oxygenate enough, and make a starter, get a good clean pitch going in. That'll clean up your alcohol solventiness there. But I thought it was a pretty pleasant beer. Kind of around 30-ish territory for this one. It's pleasant drinking, but it has a few things that could be cleaned up to make it even better. But thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, who's next? We're going to do the alternating judge feedback. So should we have Nicole go? Let Brian just sit there a little bit longer?
Yeah. Brian can chime in with some thoughts.
Yeah, some random
I'll
sounds.
sit out the next one. That's fine.
All right, Nicole, go ahead.
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, this was a interesting beer. I was excited. Blueberry, fun stuff. I got a lot of ripe blueberry aroma, so not super intense, because like Brian said, the blueberry aroma wasn't super intense, but what was there presents as like really ripe blueberries, not, kind of like the hodgepodge of underripe ones or anything.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure.
There's a honeyish tone from the malt, which kind of played nicely into the blueberry, but also as the beer warmed up kind of started to stick out a little bit more. And I was detecting two kind of minor off flavors. I was getting a little bit of acetaldehyde, just as I think that might be what Brian was detecting as the alcoholic note, but there was kind of like a that acetaldehyde kind of character to it. Not necessarily like a super like green apple, but that like I never smell acetaldehyde as green apple. I get it as like your breath after you've drank too much, basically. That's literally acetaldehyde. That's how I figured out what acetaldehyde was.
That is what breath. Yeah, your body breaks down the alcohol to that.
Exactly.
The human body is disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
I tell my wife that all the time, but because of me, not okay. Right.
I also was going back and forth about whether I was detecting some DMS notes, because when I kind of sniffed with my mouth open, I was getting definitely some kind of sulfur character that I think was DMS, giving that kind of like creamed corn note. But I couldn't tell that could be coming from the fruit also.
Yeah, like the sweetness of the blueberry kind of.
Well, it could literally
mimicking the
DMS from the fruit.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like a super big flaw in this beer, but it's there, and I think it does take away a little bit from the overall flavor, because it's kind of simplifying things.
Okay.
The color is really cool. It looks like concentrated rosé wine. It has that like purplish pink color.
And that sounds delicious, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Strawberry Kool-Aid.
A little hazy.
Hell yeah, let's go.
A little hazy. In the flavor, I was really pleasantly surprised to find, well, I guess it's more mouthfeel. I'm kind of skipping ahead, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that there wasn't a lot of astringency. When I heard the words blueberry blonde ale, I was like, oh, how much is this going to mess my palate up with just sucking the moisture from my tongue, with astringency. And that didn't happen at all. There's a really nice kind of like pleasant medium body. There's some malt that you put in here that gave it some richness, some more than just a super light body, and that helps take away that any astringency that is there. So that's hard to do when you're working with something like blueberries and you're actually using real whole fruit. So great job there. In the flavor, going back up, I was getting that like nice faint but ripe blueberry flavor, and some kind of like creamy, like light, faintly bready malt tones. Really nice. And then my overall impression was that it was good use of blueberries. I agreed with Brian that I could have taken more, but I was really happy with like the level of sweetness. It's pretty well attenuated and dry, but has just enough sweetness and body to kind of carry the blueberry flavor that's there, which was my favorite thing about the beer.
Excellent. What did you give it?
Also a score like right around 30.
Okay. Very good. Brian, you want to add anything real fast? Or?
Yeah, just briefly. I think what's interesting is that in the aroma, Cooper got a bready character, and Nicole got like a DMS cream corn character, and I got a definite plastic phenol. So there's just something, we all picked up something different, but it's all something that's maybe a little off about the aroma.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I got more of like a chlorine thing from the water, like a water,
I'm right, chlorophenol. See, that's I'm the correct one.
Well, I don't know.
I'm actually blind to some chlorophenols, so if you tell me it's there, I'd believe you.
I'm just I
get it a little bit, but
I agree with everything Nicole said. The rosé wine thing, I totally was getting that myself. But I'm kind of middle of the road for tasting diacetyl. I didn't taste it, but I got a real slickness in this. Mm-hmm. And kind of the question, is it time to question the brewer? Or are we going to hold off?
Go for it. That's fine.
When in the fermentation did you add the blueberries, and how did you do that? So I presume you must have crushed them, but when did you add them?
So I actually added them in when I kegged it.
Okay.
So after sanitizing it, pureeing it, boiling it just to make sure, because I didn't want what happened last time to happen again.
Yeah.
And then dropped everything in the keg, and then racked the beer on top of it.
So you boiled your blueberries.
After I pureed it, yes.
Okay. Interesting. So you had like a pan of like water and pureed blueberries that you boiled the whole thing.
I actually didn't add any water. I didn't really boil it, but I got it up to a temperature that
you pasteurized it.
From what I've read, should kill anything that might be in there. So
yeah. So like 150 is that kind of pasteurization or what?
I think I got it to like 152, 153 was the thermometer reading.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably going to set some fruit pectins too, so you might want to use some pectinase, which is probably the source of the haze that we're seeing in the beer.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if you care about it being clear.
Yeah. Haze is cool.
Tastes better because it's hazy.
Yeah.
So your secondary fermentation was in your keg.
Correct.
Okay. Did you have, and just out of curiosity, it wouldn't affect the flavor, but did you have the keg sealed, and was that part of your carbonation, where you just had secondary? Okay.
It was. I racked it and carbonated it. So I guess really didn't do like a secondary.
Okay.
It just primary, let it sit, raised it up for a diacetyl rest, and then just racked it, carbonated it.
So every bit of those blueberries is in that keg, and it's interesting, yeah.
Every bit is in there. Yes.
How much blueberries were added again? Did you give us a pound or?
So it was about 2.25 pounds.
In a batch size of
5 gallons.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised the blueberry didn't come out as much. Myself.
Yeah, that's like Brian was saying. Blueberries, watermelon, strawberries. Those we eat them and we think they're super intense flavors, but they're actually just really light flavors. And I think those fruits have mostly water, and you really have to focus on like a mango or something.
Yeah,
like
water
that.
and a little bit of acid, and it kind of it's the acid gets washed out into the beer, and you just get that little bit of flavor. So.
Yeah, they're hard to use. I mean, and I know of some people who use fresh blueberries, but then they go back and add, like with a little flavoring or fruit puree or whatever, just to get that fruit essence, right? That punch. Because sometimes when you pick the blueberries, maybe they all are too tart. Maybe there's not a whole lot of sweet ones, or the balance is kind of off, and then where are you at? So you need something to kind of like push through the aroma and the flavor of the blueberries. But
you could also make amends with that by lightening up the base beer a little bit and just cleaning up it a little bit and getting it even drier, and that might help let the blueberries shine a little bit more.
Yeah,
because it's okay to make a subtle beer. I don't need to be
for
punched
sure
in the face with blueberries.
Well, that's the guy, and you're right. I mean, the guidelines for fruit beers, there ought to be a balance. It shouldn't be like you're drinking blueberry juice. And I really liked that about this beer, that it was really balanced.
Yeah, and I think Nicole, what you're saying, I would like to see more of the blonde ale come through in the base. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, maybe sort of.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Maybe a little hop character?
I was being more specific about this beer, but yeah. That could be another interesting way to augment the blueberry flavor, is to get some really good, like a little touch of mosaic or something in there to help it push it along.
If you trust the people at Oregon Fruit Products, whose business it is to sell fruit purees, their customers typically use 1/2 to 2 pounds of puree per gallon of finished beer. So it could be, in a 5-gallon batch, it'd be 2.5 would be the low end. You'd want to use up to 10
Good Lord.
That's a lot.
10 pounds of fruit in 5-gallon beer. Let's go. How much beer would that displace? You'd
have to replace some of your water for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're like
if you're not boiling with it either. Yeah, you'd have to boil a 4-gallon batch and then add all that puree in secondary or something. I don't know.
Well, Ariel, do you have any questions for the judges here?
So one thing that I kind of like a surprise, and I don't know if Nicole, maybe this is the surprise malt that you were talking about. It's not so much a malt, but I did throw a pound of flaked oats in there because I wanted to get more of a body to it.
It is kind of creamy.
Yeah.
Kind of a silky, creamy mouthfeel, yeah.
That's that silkiness, that's... I think that really helps if you're working with a fruit that has a potential for astringency, something with a lot of skins like grapes or like blueberries,
Yeah.
So really helpful, but it might have just been compared to the level of fruit flavor, it might have been a little out of balance. And when you're working with a beer that's this delicate, the slightest bit out of balance gets kind of amplified because there's just, there's nowhere to hide,
I wonder if that's the breadiness, Brian, that you got in the beginning of this beer, and the aroma is that oat stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, could be.
But I definitely noticed as well. It's a very creamy beer with, I think, a very good mouthfeel. And that might be, if there was a diacetyl rest and I got a little slickness and didn't taste butter, that's probably the mouthfeel element that I'm getting is the oats and not diacetyl.
Yeah.
The oats can be a little kind of oily, slick.
Yeah, it can give you this very similar feeling.
Wow. Well, hey, that's pretty good, man. You guys, you're all dancing around it, but and that's why we don't ask for all the ingredients before we judge beers, because then it would skew anything. Is there anything else that you want to ask everybody, or are you satiated with your knowledge?
No, pretty good. I definitely gonna want to try it again, and
yeah, definitely try it again. I think it's a good flavor combination.
It's really
There's no reason why you wouldn't do it. It's not contaminated like you were concerned about. So I think you handled everything there.
The berry quality is nice, and I like they're using it as a fresh product instead of some processed thing.
I really like that mix of oats. Like you could experiment with other fruits that have a lot of seeds or tannins, like blackberries or other things too. It could be really fun.
Yeah, very cool. All right, man, we'll let you go, and I appreciate you sending the beer in.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you.
Fun beer. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
Bye. What I did forget to do is 5-star. Thank you to our show sponsor, 5-star. Sorry for this. Brian was trying to remind me at the same time. I was like, I don't understand what this is.
It feels so empty.
I thought he was showing me a drawing of a tattoo he wants to get, just a bunch of stars.
Yeah, I'm going to get a 5-star tattoo on my arm.
5-Star Chemicals. Go to 5starchemicals.com. They are the leading producer of cleaning and sanitizing products. So you can clean and then sanitize your equipment because you can't do one without the other. So check them out. They're helping you make better beer. If you're not using them, you're not doing it right. That's just what I'm going to say. Okay, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to drink more beer and talk with more people and all that kind of fun stuff that we do in Dr. Homebrew. Hang on, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
the examination.
All right, thanks everybody for sticking with us. Before we get to our next beer, I want to remind you guys that More Beer has teamed up with the great John Palmer to make 27 beer kits based on recipes found in brewing classic styles, written by John Palmer and somebody called Jamul. These kits are true to style and are all within BJCP guidelines, enabling them to be easily entered into any upcoming competition. Buy 2 kits and get fast and free shipping for morebeer.com. All right, our next guest in the studio is Kyle. And Kyle brought a mini keg that he's tapping off
He's
of.
pouring it out of a Growlerworks U keg. Yeah, the gallon size.
Yeah,
that's the daddy keg.
Adorbs.
I gotta get my own glass because Bev didn't get any glasses.
Yeah, I met those Growlerworks
Beverly
dudes
didn't get any glasses.
up at
I'm trying to do a
NHC.
thing.
I got some glasses.
Been taking crap.
Thanks, man.
Do you need more glasses?
Yes, please, Beverly. Thank you. Kyle, thanks for coming in, man. How you're a local guy, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area.
Nice. What's your address? That's really what I'm asking for.
Do you have a telephone number?
Christ, let's go. Let's go. How long you been homebrewing?
About 10, 11 years with a 2-year hiatus when I lived in Germany.
Okay, wow. That's pretty much... Was there kind of a lack of homebrewing, or you just didn't want to homebrew because there's so much good beer for like $1?
Or you didn't want to follow the Reinheitsgebot?
It's hard to find ingredients. There's no such thing as like a homebrew shop, and it was just, there's other things going on, so...
You were living in Germany.
Let's go all day
working,
long.
Trying to get by.
I
don't speak German, so it was, there's a lot to do.
Like learn German?
Yeah, like learn an entire impossible language.
Right, that's for sure. Man, I wouldn't be homebrewing either if I would lived in Germany, dude. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I would just be buying a bunch of great tasting lagers that nobody here seems to really do. Not nobody, but
and
you know what I mean.
Like the common theme today, I'm also lazy, and so why?
Score! You're my friend right here, man.
Exactly.
Right. I got a thing in my glass. What beer are we drinking?
What kind of thing?
I don't know.
So this is the reason I brought this in is because it's just kind of a mix of stuff. This was a
stuff beer.
It was. What it started out is, I wanted to demonstrate home brewing, and the best way to teach people is to give them free beer.
Yeah.
And so I had an alt beer, and so I was kind of demoing alt beer and brought in some grain and doing some 1 gallon, like here's a mash, here's that, and had some malt extract, and it kind of went sideways, and so I ended up at home with all of this stuff, including some hops from Altamont Beer Works. So thanks Altamont Beer Works. I used some of this for the beer. I apologize I didn't use it to its fullest extent, but most of it got donated to the club, so it'll go on to bigger and better things.
There you go. That's cool. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. It's not, you're not really trying to hit a style. You were just trying to make a good beer.
I was just trying to use the ingredients because they weren't meant to last past that day. So when the demo kind of went sideways, I had all this stuff and I was leaving on travel, and so I wanted to convert it to beer before it just sat around and got hot and stale and gross.
Converted to mold.
Exactly.
Okay. So what did it come out as, do you think? Or is that why you're here?
That was part of it, is I wanted to talk about it and see what these guys thought. But it's about half, the malt bill is about half of an alt beer mix. Mm-hmm. I wanted to demonstrate a boil, and so I had some malt extract. I wanted to talk about malt extracts come a long way in recent times. So we had some rye malt extract and some amber, just to show variety. And then, like I said, Altamont donated a bunch of hops, so we had a lot of Citra, Mosaic, Belma, and a new experimental 07270.
The 07270, yes.
The dank, yeah.
Also, yeah, from some of their cereal series and that sort of stuff.
Doesn't that one have a name now?
I don't know.
Dankopotamus.
It's proprietary. Nobody knows the name except the owner of the patent.
Okay, cool. Well,
trademark,
I'm sure we can taste that and figure out where this would go if you were to enter into a competition.
Yeah, and hopefully it's fun to talk about what goes together and what doesn't go together, and hop styles and beer styles and malt and.
Sounds like a good time.
We decided to judge it as an American brown ale. So
American brown ale.
1960.
Okay. Nicole, do you want to start off, or would you like to give Brian Schar Esquire the chance to?
Let's let Brian Schar Esquire.
Ooh, this is so exciting! It's my very first official Dr. Homebrew readout here.
Yeah, well, put your shirt back on. It's all right. It's not that kind of party.
You can't tell me what kind of party this is.
Try to condense it to 1 minute only because we're running out of time.
Yeah. Exactly.
In one breath.
Quickly, I think for something you threw together, this came together, I think, really nicely. The hop aroma was dominant, very piney and dank. Low roast character, a little fruit ester, I thought, like a grape ester. I thought it really went well together, and that fruity ester is going to be kind of characteristic of the alt beer. It's German, quote, ale. So you're going to have some esters out of that. And the hops really complemented that pretty well. It's very dark beer, has a really heroic head that just doesn't go away.
Heroic.
That's like my favorite. I write that in score sheets for those that kind of head.
That's like my
by the
thing.
way. Oh, please do. Everyone should be writing about the heroic head on
There's
these
a little
beers.
cape around it. Yeah.
It's when it's really dark like this, it's hard to tell how clear it is, but it doesn't ultimately matter. I mean, nothing about it tells me that it's. You kind of tilt it and look a little bit at the thin areas, and it looks pretty clear.
I did add some clear beer because I knew it was going to be kind of the dark side. I was hoping for a little more reddish. It didn't get there, but I wanted to get it clear so that it would look a little better because brown beers are generally not.
I don't think it looks pretty. It looks good. It looks like it's supposed to look. Flavor. Initially, I got like a really low phenol plastic, which might just be from the roast malt. Light roast character, high hop flavor of sort of piney and dank, sort of a medium hop bitterness. It was really well attenuated, a good balance between hop and malt, although it was a little leaned toward the hop flavor, which you expect in an American brown. Malty, roasty finish, medium body and carbonation. Very low warming, slight creaminess, not astringent. Overall, I thought it was really tasty and well done. The only flaw might have been a slight phenol, which might just be what I'm perceiving from the roast. Quick question for you. Do you brew outside or inside?
I brew outside.
Do you use garden hose or white potable water hose?
I generally buy spring water.
Okay, good. Because I used to have a phenol problem in a very minor way, and it was because I used that nasty old garden hose.
Yep.
And when Jamil pointed out that was a bad idea, I got the white RV hose, and my phenol problem cleared up instantly.
Nice.
Good tip.
But no, I think that was I gave it a 37, thought it was well done, especially for something you kind of got some disparate ingredients. You put some American hops in a German beer. I think it came out really nice.
Thanks, yeah.
Awesome. Very good. All right, Nicole.
I might not have been as kind.
I wouldn't have either.
This tastes like total butthead. It's butt juice in a bottle, and I hate it.
I would never say something like that, but you might sum it up that way.
If you were reading off my score sheet, that's how it would be. In crayon. Butt juice.
She just drew a dirty picture on her score sheet. There's no words on that thing. Sorry.
Well, JP would draw a picture of a wang, and that would be about it.
It's probably true.
So what's really interesting about this beer is every time I take a break from it and I go back to it, my first initial impression is totally different because it's kind of all over the place. Yeah, but the thing that I think I got the most when I would go for a first sniff is like really intense, like pine and lime zest type of hop aromas, and then followed by some notes of some toffee and some caramel, and then also some bready character. There's definitely some ester going on, and the way that it melds with the different malts and hops in the beer, there's kind of a cantaloupe kind of impression. I also got a little bit of acetaldehyde. I know I talked about the last beer too, but I didn't get it in this beer until it started to warm up. It started to pop out a little bit faint. The color is, what you would expect for American brown. Not, maybe a little high on the high end, but I think within range. And then the flavor, again, got the intense hop aromas, but they seem to kind of exist on like a different plane than the rest of the beer. Like in like one bubble, there was the hop aromas, and in another bubble, there's the kind of malt flavors, and like things weren't like intersecting and melding together to make one cohesive product. So it was kind of interesting that way. one thing I thought was really interesting is that the finish is just like a chicory coffee. So if you've ever had either just plain roasted chicory or a blended chicory coffee, there's a really specific kind of toffee-ish flavor, and then the way it influences the roast character, and I really get that in the finish, which I thought was really interesting because I really like chicory coffee.
Almost like a licorice dirt thing.
Not
in
dirt.
A good way.
No, it's not dirt.
Earthy.
It is slightly earthy, but it's just like a specific kind of like treacly, toffee-ish character, more like tree bark than earth.
Okay. Close enough.
Yeah.
Like what, an inch or two?
Yeah,
the tree
a couple inches. Yeah.
So it's, I'm close. That's all I need to be is just close.
Anyway, yeah, I liked that that finish, how it lingered. It's kind of like that, like nice coffee-ish finish. Let's see. The carbonation was a little low. I think that did take away from the beer. A little higher carbonation might have made things seem like they went together better. But yeah, it was an interesting experiment in flavors. Like it's a very flavorful beer. None of the flavors are bad, but the flavors don't necessarily all play nice together that exist.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. It's one of those things when you're going through the judging score sheet. If you talk about the malt separately, you talk about the hops separately. You can be very complimentary with that, but overall impression, I think it lacks a little bit because I think those two things are clashing in this beer.
Yeah, in my mouth, the malt all went to the right side, and the hops all went to the left side of my mouth. I don't know how, but yeah. Like it's stereo beer.
There's two things that are potentially be great, just not together.
There are also some interesting interplays happening here. Like there were a couple flavors. I was like, oh, what is that? And as soon as you said Belma, I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's what that kind of odd strawberry-ish hop aroma from the Belma is like. There's some interesting flavors there with some of the more toasted malt character, especially with the toffee-ish note. I don't know how geeky we want to get, but we were talking about fruit beer earlier, and we were talking about how strawberries don't normally lend a lot of flavor into beer.
Yeah.
That's because one of the most important flavor compounds in strawberries is called ferraniol. And ferraniol tastes like molten sugar. It's kind of like when the sugar first melts in the pan, it's kind of that aroma, right?
Okay.
It's like very, very faint caramel or burnt sugar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or I learned it from Dr. Bill Simpson, so it's burnt sugar. Anyway, that's one of the reasons why it's hard to get strawberry flavor to translate into beer, because beer already has a lot of ferraniol flavor depending on what kind of malts you use, right? So Belma has this like other aspect of strawberry aroma, so it lends that too. And when you have it in a beer that has some ferraniol from the malt, you get an increased impression of strawberry. Ferraniol is also a reason why sometimes when you're drinking something like a Doppelbock, you'll get like a strawberry kind of note from the malt. It's like that strawberry jam, right? Anyway, interesting. So yeah, kind of a weird thing, all about like perceiving things in different contexts, blah blah blah. But that strawberry-ish aroma blends really in interesting ways with some of the malts that are in here.
Like a
and
strawberry
I think that's worth pursuing.
Pop-Tart, almost.
Yeah,
do something with this.
I mean, and you wouldn't get that. I mean, Belma's not the most assertive hop. Like, you have to use an F ton of it to really like taste that flavor.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of did here, and I think something beautiful came out of it that you could explore more.
Do you have the recipe in front of you?
Yeah, I do. And
let's run through that, and maybe we can figure out what's working and maybe what's not, and maybe if you want to make it again, how to accentuate the things that you want.
Sure, and I was kicking myself because all of these hops got added really late. So if I was smarter, it would have been awesome to just take some of this and do single hop additions on a few different batches and separate it out to the different flavors, see what works and what doesn't. But the original alt beer had 9 pounds of Pilsner, 2 pounds of Munich, half a pound of Cara Munich, half a pound of Special B, and a quarter pound of Carafa 3. If you're going to do it, I would say to cut that down by half, maybe do 2 ounces of Carafa 3. It came out a little dark. Ounce and a half of Perle hops, ounce of Tettnanger, and let's see, the Tettnanger was added 15 minutes, left with a boil. 2 packs of German ale yeast, 1007. So I had, for this one, I ended up with about 6 3/4 pounds of that mix, with 3 pounds of rye extract, a pound of amber extract. I'm laughing because this is a ridiculous recipe.
But it kind of works.
Everything was going great until you got to this part of it.
Yeah. So I had, leftovers, an ounce of Tettnanger, an ounce of Pearl that was meant to, just pass around. I added those like I would for the alt beer. But then I had I had about 3.5 ounces each of, because that's what fits in a snack Ziploc baggie, to pass around to a crowd, of Citra, Mosaic, Boma in this 07270.
Those were your HomebrewCon hops?
Those were just donated by Altamont, and okay. they donated a lot more than that. They were super generous, super cool. It was really nice of them.
Thanks, bros.
Yeah, I
steal someone else's logo again.
But I took a snack baggie of each, and then just gave the rest of the homebrew club so they could do something cool with it. And then I had the American ale yeast, probably the 1056. I wanted something that was, we could smack the pack and show that it swelled up and, hey, look, yeast does stuff.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And so that was the yeast I had, so that's what got used as well.
All right.
So not an alt beer yeast.
No, it wasn't.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah. I did try and keep the temperature down, but it did its thing, and so that's.
Do you have controlled fermentation temperature, like in a fridge or something?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's controlled as in it doesn't freeze and it doesn't boil. Other than that,
it's
between 0 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit at all times.
It's controlled that it's a very tired fridge, so it doesn't get cold, so it controls fermentation very well.
Nice.
It's not bad, man.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
I thought the beer was a pretty decent American brown. I'm glad we didn't judge it as an alt beer. It didn't work.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
The interesting thing in the flavor, I don't know how or where it came from. Something from one of the hops combining with the malts in there. It's just this like kind of pumpernickel bread like quality to it. It's like got this kind of a light spicy quality to it with this dark bread, and it's just like pumpernickel. And then
that's that rye extract, man.
The hops are super piney and dank and resiny and fun, and I like those kind of hops. So, and I like going to Altamont too. For some reason, this works, but I would back off the hops, though. It's too hop balanced, even for
it needs a little more
side of the American brown,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, agreed. Like it everything late, just it definitely needs that upfront bitterness. It's a good call.
For how much stuff is in this beer, though, like I have to say, I can actually taste things. Like,
right.
A lot of the time, a beer like this, it would just be like. Just
kitchen sink beer, yay!
So many flavors and nothing distinguishable, and I think that's a testament that you're probably a pretty good home brewer.
Thanks, appreciate it.
There's some acuity in there, but because of that, like hopefully you can walk away with this with some interesting ideas for future combinations.
Did you mention your score, Nicole? What did you give it?
I gave it a 30.
Yeah, I landed at a 34 on it. I thought it was a pretty good beer, but it just needs to be balanced a little better. Cleanly brewed, though, and fun, for sure.
I can't find my score sheet, so we're going to just ignore mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't find it at all. But you know what I did find? Information about the iDip.
You dip?
I dip. We dip. It's the Smart Brew water testing kit. Incorporates a revolutionary photometer system, which is the first and only one on the market with its own app. You can use it in your home brewery or in your commercial brewery. It's the only meter on the market that runs water tests with no math needed, and you can email the results to anybody you want or post it to your Facebook page, whatever you want to do. It can test over 40 different water tests. 4 come preloaded, and there are more available. You can test for stuff like total alkalinity, chloride, calcium hardness, pH, sulfate, and more with only 4 milliliters of water needed for each test. Go to smartbrewkit.com and enter code TBN10 at checkout and save $10 on either the standard or advanced Smart Brew testing kit.
The most drought-friendly water testing kit out on the market.
Absolutely.
That thing is badass.
You don't have to do math, dude. That's my favorite part.
That's my favorite part,
I
too.
like that shit. I don't like math. Math is
hard, says JP.
What has math ever got me? You know what I mean? Nothing.
So I live in Menlo Park, but we have Hetchy water, which is like the cleanest, most beautiful water you can have anywhere, aside from like about 1 month a year when they screw with our water plant to do cleaning and stuff. Mm-hmm. You can taste that it's different. It comes out of the sink, and you're like, you're getting it from somewhere else. And those times, it's so nice to have the eye dip to know just what the heck you're drinking and putting in your beer.
Exactly. You heard it from Esquire here. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to give stuff away, and then we're going to go urinate. It's Dr. Homebrew. We'll be right back.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5 Star Chemicals. 5 Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5 Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5 Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5 Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5 Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5 Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5 Star treatment today.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. We're going to run through a couple things here, and then we're going to get out of here. But first, of course, the city of Concord, where we are located, it's the perfect place to start or expand your craft beer business. Concord is centrally located in the Bay Area. It boasts strong craft beer-loving demographics. The historic downtown is experiencing a boom with new businesses opening and new apartment developments in the pipeline. The city's economic development team is ready to help you find a successful location, meet your business needs. Call Brian Nunnally.
Another Brian?
At 925-671-3018.
Too many Brians.
Never can be too many Brians.
Let's give him a nickname. He needs a nickname, too.
But he's not
City Brian.
There you go. City
I like
Nun.
Concord. This is a nice town.
It's a nice town. Yeah, you can open a business here if you guys want. Let's go. Everyone.
Let's do it.
Tap rooms. Let's go. Okay, we do have some prizes to give away. Actually, one prize to the $40 gift certificate to Grog Tag. It's the At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate, and that goes to, of course, the person who has the lowest score in today's Dr. Homebrew shootout. Ting, ting, ting.
Oh, man. Great sound effects on this show.
Thanks, dude. They're authentic.
Yes.
I literally brought my guns into the studio. All right, Brian.
People can tell.
Who gets the $40 At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate to grogtag.com?
The competition was stiff, but Ariel gets it.
Ariel, all right, good job, Ariel.
You.
$40, dude, to grogtag.com.
Get a metal
I'll be
sign.
sending you that over. He did email me his recipe if you guys want it.
For completeness' sake, it wouldn't hurt to hear it.
Yeah, so he said, 5 gallons? So he said 8 ounces of rice hulls, 10 pounds of pale U.S. 2-row, 1 pound of flaked oats, 12 ounces of white wheat, 8 ounces of Crystal 20, half an ounce of Centennial at 60 minutes, half an ounce of Galaxy at 20 minutes, half an ounce of Galaxy at the Whirlpool, and 1.1 package of Safe Ale American Ale yeast, 2.25 pounds of fresh blueberry puree.
Where can you buy 0.1 package of yeast?
1.1? I don't know. It's a good question.
Interesting.
Or maybe you just had one left with a little bit left from the last time.
Maybe he spilled most
Possibly.
of it.
Yeah, you got 2, and you opened it up like a chip bag and went.
Maybe that's why there was acetaldehyde.
It's
that
possible.
0.1.
There's 0.9 of a packet of acetaldehyde.
Shouldn't have added that 0.1, man.
Yeah. Any feedback on that? Or it seems pretty solid, right? The wheat and the oats. You think that might be too much?
Why are you saying it like that?
I don't know. It's fun.
What?
The wheat.
The wheat and the oats, I think, really explain. Frankly, I think that's that weird bready aroma at the beginning that we all kind of interpreted different ways. And maybe that's a little bit too much for those grains.
Okay.
And I talked earlier, I think the oats might have been the cause of that slickness. But what do you guys think?
I liked the oats. I personally feel like brewers be putting wheat in everything for no good reason.
It's true.
They're like, I think I should put wheat in this. Like, why? Did you really think that through?
Read it.
The oats give a really specific mouthfeel that I think is what he was going for, and I think he achieved. He might want to bring it back a little.
Rein it in a little bit.
Yeah, but
Cool.
Although I don't know of many American blonde ales that would feature wheat, but
wheat and oats.
Yeah,
it's like the Portlandia episode. Put a bird on it. put some wheat in it.
Lots of commercial breweries are doing the same thing. So,
we are going to leave here in a second, but before we do, of course, there's always house cleaning to do over here on the Brewing Network. The American Homebrewers Association, which is a member-driven organization that wants to help you save money on beer and brewing supplies. In addition to providing brewing resources and hosting one-of-a-kind events, the AHA offers money-saving discounts at nearly 2,000 beer destinations around the country through their Member Deals program. Join the AHA if you haven't already, which I don't know why you wouldn't have, at homebrewersassociation.org and make your beer money go further.
Yeah, I saved a lot of money when I was down in San Diego. I just had the Brew Guru app up all the time. I was like, where am I? Okay. Yeah, they have a deal. Cool.
You know, one of the dumbest things I ever did was not buy a lifetime membership in 1994. Those were cheap, and can you imagine the money I would have saved in the last 25 years? So if you're like 25 years old, buy that lifetime membership right now. You will not regret it. Seriously.
Hell yeah.
And go to HomebrewCon.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for sticking with us. And to Brian and Nicole, thank you for coming in.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
We will see you guys on the next show. And, if you're around and you want to hear the next show, just either wait or skip ahead. I don't know.
I'm leaving. They're so awesome. It's just going to be them on the next show.
Can I leave too?
I'm going to go drink a beer.
They can just do they can do everything.
Drink like 3 beers.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.